Texas Survival School. We're out here this weekend getting ready to do a basic wilderness survival class here. We're over in Exotic, just outside of Dallas, Texas here. Yeah, it's the first night of our class this weekend. We'll be out here until Sunday afternoon, but wrapped up things a little bit early, so thought I might jump on here and just see if any of you guys are out there. I don't know if it is or not, but we'll hang around out here for a little bit and see if you guys pop in. Usually fun to jump on here and chat with folks as we kind of move through the night. Usually a nice little opportunity to jump on and touch base with people, and we'll hang around here and just see if anyone pops up. If not, we'll wrap this up and I'll go get in the bed over here. Actually, I think my fearless dog companion Topo, yep, she's actually over there already asleep. I think she's asleep at least. She's definitely working on it. Let's see. Put you guys down. Yeah, see, she's. Let's see. Do I have a flashlight somewhere? Yeah, I got one here. Yeah, you can see she's over there. She's already sacked out. I think she's had a busy day today. Come here, put my camera back up here. Definitely make sure the dog's taken care of over there. She's always the star of the show anyway. Whew. We'll go through and take boots off. It's actually supposed to be a really rainy weekend here. I think the rain here is supposed to start tomorrow morning at about somewhere around 9 or 10. And I think it's supposed to rain pretty consistently on into Sunday. So everyone out here is probably going to get more than their fair share of learning to survive out in the rainy elements, which always makes lighting fires fun. We always try to tell people, though, from a survival perspective, it's never when it's sunny and 75 outside. It always usually happens when it is way too warm, way too hot, or entirely too wet outside. Surviving's rarely ever sunny and 75. It's usually when everything else is going poorly. Go through, take my shoes off, take these boots off. I have been in those things all day now, and the dogs are tired. Let those things breathe a little bit. We hang around out here. We have a little punch list of stuff down here I wanted to talk about. I know here in Texas, it is definitely, I think the winter has gotten completely past us at this point. Let's see, someone popped up there. Hello, Rebecca Bray. Where are you from, Rebecca? Where are you joining us from? Like I said, I know here in Texas, most of the winter is past us, but at the same time, a lot of other places in the country, it is still cooler. I do always like to take an opportunity when it is cool out here. It always reminds me, for those who are doing what I'm doing right now, camping inside of a tent, invest in a small portable CO2 monitor. Let's see, all kind of people out there popping up. Hello. Let's see. Hey, how are you? Doing well. Honestly, just trying to stay warm this evening. Although the weather's super nice here. It's going to be pouring down rain tomorrow and the next couple of days, and we're actually out in the field. We've got a wilderness survival class going on this weekend. This is the first night of it. Hopefully the audio's good with you guys. See, Eduardo, what's up? Let's see, it's almost Valentine's Day. Yes, it is almost Valentine's Day. My entire family, my wife and my son both, they're off he's off for school, so right now they're all off playing. They've rented a cabin up in Oklahoma, so she's off with a bunch of rowdy seniors from high school. So I'm out in the woods. We're teaching class this weekend, and so we'll have to circle back and do Valentine's Day at my household next week. So we're out roughing it. But like I was going to say, it is still winter in certain areas. Where are you, U.S.? Yes, I'm actually here in the States. I am just outside Dallas, Texas. So we are down kind of in that North Texas area, if you're not sure where Dallas is. But yeah, so a lot of places it is still cold outside. Invest in a CO2 monitor. I always hate, and you usually see it a couple of times a year. People will they'll be in their tents and they're trying to stay warm, and whether they're running the little like the Mr. Buddy heaters or things like that, where they're trying to stay warm inside there and end up expire from CO2 exposure. Um, let's see, my birthday is tomorrow. Looks like Pepe, happy birthday, a few hours early. Let's see, Zachary, hello, man. Just kind of curious, where are some of you guys from? I know out here, people kind of pop in and out from different areas of the country. I'd actually love to know where you guys are from. This channel's been out here. Oh, I've been doing this, kind of playing around with the channel now for a couple of years. I know where some of the followers, I see one Iowa there. Yes, I am camping. Let's see, Karen, yes, I'm actually out. I'm one of the two owners of the Texas Survival School, so we're usually out at least a couple weekends, if not more weekends, each month out. It's OKC, so we're usually out teaching some kind of wilderness survival classes. So we have a basic class going on this weekend. So they just got started this evening, and then we'll be out here until Sunday afternoon, somewhere in that neighborhood. Let's see. Yes. Iowa. Hello. People kind of cruising through. But yeah, like I said earlier, I've got a little punch list of stuff down here. If you guys caught the last live that I did out of this tent, I've got a little stove jack up here, and I had a big actual stand-up wood burning stove in here, which actually worked pretty well, but I did kind of wrestle with the smoke inside here, and actually the tent still smells a little smoky inside. Yes, Karen, having fun for sure so far. Any time spent outside, not in the city confines, is usually good for my head, kind of slows things down. But yes, so I used a wood stove in here last time, and it still sort of smells smoky. I actually think, which I think winter is past us now, so, but I think when it cools off again, I did just order a diesel heater. If any of you guys have played around with those and have good luck, bad luck with it, I would love to hear what you thought about it. Are you with family? I am not. My family is off. My son and wife, they are, he took he's a senior in high school. A bunch of students have gone, a bunch of his friends and stuff, they all decided to take a weekend trip up into Oklahoma. So my wife is chaperoning about 10 teenagers up there. So I am just out here with my camping school family. We've got a nice little cadre tribe of instructors. There's about 10 or 12 instructors here at the school, and so we're always kind of mix and matching, and it's definitely my little school family. So next best thing. Let's see, Zachary. Last time I got to camp a little waterfall with Troop 807 in Arapahoe. Where's Arapahoe? That sounds very familiar, Zachary. Where's Arapahoe? Yes, hanging out with the scouts. We actually get a fair amount of scouts that come out to the school here. We had one group. They went through. They were Dallas based. They started out. They were like Cub Scouts. This has been years ago, and each year they would come back for classes, and you'd see that group kind of get smaller and smaller and smaller. And I think it was last year, the year prior, they finally had their first group make it to Eagle Scouts. I think there were 4 of them that eagled, and there was probably 30 that started out. It was kind of fun watching those kids sort of progress through. Let's see, Karen says she's going camping next weekend. Anywhere fun? Clinton, Oklahoma. Very nice, Zachary. So I'm not sure, Zachary, how far Clinton is to Wilburton, Oklahoma. We actually go up there. We've got the other co-owner he and I own a block of property over in Wilburton, and we ease up there in kind of that western side of the Ouachitas. And it's beautiful country up there. I like making my trips to Oklahoma. Let's see, yeah, so I'm gonna eventually, if it cools back off around here this winter, I'm gonna actually try a diesel heater in here just to see how well it heats. This tent's really not that big, so I fully expect it'll probably be more than enough to do the job here. But always, I don't mind. Let's see, I was a scout. We did not have the group anymore. Yeah, that's unfortunate, Karen. That happens a lot at this point. I know the pack that my son was in, they had to merge in with another because they didn't have enough kids to actually keep it sort of up and active. But I always try to keep this the tent in here warm. I don't mind so much. It's easy enough to keep myself warm, but my little dog is over here in the floor. She's over there asleep in the tent, and I always worry about her getting cold, even though she typically gets in the sleeping bag with me. I know it follows Route 66 west from Iowa, Yukon. It's an hour and a half away. Okay, all right, cool. Audio good with you guys? You guys able to hear me pretty well? Town, Yukon, I meant to say. Okay, gotcha, Zachary. Okay, that makes sense. What type of dog? She is an accidental doodling. Her mom is a poodle, and the dad was the neighbor's Aussie. We got her from a veterinarian friend of ours. She's over there hiding right now. She's not hiding, she's actually in the cot about half asleep. She's had a really big day today. But she's easily the smartest dog I have ever owned. I wanted a dog I could take out hiking with me. And she has poodle brains and Aussie gas tank. So she's the best of both worlds. She's constantly, if I'm leaving the house, she wants to go with me. Actually, when she sees me packing up for classes, she really gets her feelings hurt if she's not going with me, but very often, if I can take her, I typically take her. Not many times that I leave her home. Yeah, Karen, I think we're supposed to get storms tomorrow. It's going to be here, I think, at 10 in the morning, somewhere in the neighborhood. And then, so we're probably going to get rained on pretty much all weekend out here. Let's see, I'm getting storms right now. Yeah, I think it is. I think we're all going to be getting them here pretty soon. I think it's supposed to hit here at 10 tomorrow, but we're going to. I think actually I don't know if you guys could even hear the wind out here. The wind's kicking up pretty good, but I think it's supposed to rain here in the Dallas area through at least midday on Sunday, somewhere in that neighborhood. So what else we got down here? We have had to watch here. So now that the temps and stuff are starting to creep up, I keep having to remind myself, hey, I need to watch where I'm putting my feet, because there are little slithery friends. Okay, so you can hear it, Karen. I didn't know if my mic was cutting off enough of that, but it's definitely kicking up here. I can keep hearing the tent move around a little bit. Definitely having to start watching where I'm putting my feet, because our little slithery friends are starting to ease back out here in the North Texas area. So snakes are starting to pop out, and I don't usually get too spun up about those guys. I always do try to help people identify the snakes, because way too many people think everything that slithers is a nope rope or a danger noodle, and they're looking to kill it. But most of those guys, whether they even the venomous ones, typically want to leave you alone. But just being able to identify those, and it kind of demystifies and makes it a little easier for you not to freak out every time you see a snake, if you can distinguish between the two, and it's not something that's like a nursery rhyme or something, because there's always exceptions to whatever rule it is people pop up. So yeah, it's raining about 90%. Lovely, Zachary. Yeah. I don't know how much rain we're supposed to get here this weekend, but I know we're supposed to get a little bit here. So if it's not raining, you're not training, I suppose. See, Karen, your dogs are wild, huh? Well, mine is completely here. I'll show her to you. She's over here laying down. Move the camera around a little bit. Come here. All right, there she is. She's over there. Did I turn her around? Oh, there she is. I don't know if you guys can even see her over there. She looks very unenthused right now. She's like, Daddy, it is bedtime. And she's like, you're over there running your mouth to the camera, playing around. But yeah, she's a, let's see. Earthy Ed, howdy. All right, you said howdy, man. Where are you from? I'm giving you the howdy from here in exotic Dallas, Texas. Well, just outside. We're sort of on the northeast side right this minute. And I agree, Jacqueline. She is very adorable. She's a good little girl. She's almost 4. Yeah, I'm tired, so I'll leave, but I will subscribe. Much appreciated there, Zachary. Yeah, I've just started doing the lives on these. I did the first one, I guess a couple weeks ago. Really never messed with them, and was sitting in the tent that night, and I was like, you know what, Karen, goodbye. Let's see, I'm north of you in Okie. All right, we're out in Oklahoma there, Ed. I know I was just mentioned to another Oklahoman up there. We've got some property up in Wilburton. We ease up that way, and it's beautiful country. I love that whole Ouachita Strand that runs through over into Arkansas and through into Oklahoma. And I like to ease up there as much as I can possibly get up there. Don't make it up there as much as I would like to, but I do like easing over there. But yeah, I did started doing these little lives and popped in. It's usually kind of nice to be able to actually sit and chat with people. I can't believe I piddled around with this channel for about 2 years and never really messed with the lives. I've actually enjoyed chatting like this. Let's see. I gotta see more stuff here in Oklahoma. There's actually some gorgeous areas in Oklahoma. I know we're not, that property we've got, we're not that far from Robbers Cave up there, that big state park, and it's gorgeous up through there too. I like easing up there as much as I possibly can. So watching little note ropes here. I was actually out hiking the other day and walked down to, I say the other day, I guess it was right before Christmas, and we had an uncommonly warm day, and I had walked down to the edge of the lake. Glad I did not have the dog with me, and I had these boots on, stepped on the very tail end of a cottonmouth who turned around and tried to bite me. Fortunately, he bit into that little kick plate on the end of my boot there and didn't make it through, but saved me a trip to the hospital, I'm sure. But yeah, being able to kind of identify the snakes and know which ones are venomous and which ones aren't kind of helps demystify all that and makes them a little less scary. But it's getting to be kind of that time of year now where they're going to start easing out and warming up and trying to recharge their batteries. Let's see, I wanted to go check out Robbers Cave. Not gotten a chance yet. You should absolutely check it out there, Ed. It's a gorgeous area up there. I like just the topography of it all. To me, it looks there's Wandering Graybeard, my dear friend Robert. It's good to see you guys, see you out there. And I guess I'm going to see you in class next weekend. I'll give you a call next week or IM you or something, just can kind of coordinate when you're coming into town. Yeah, definitely go out there and check out Robbers Cave, like the topography and everything. I'm from the Carolinas, kind of on the North Carolina, South Carolina side, on that western end, kind of as you get into the Smokies and stuff. And it looks, the Ouachitas and stuff look a lot to me like the Carolinas. I love that area of Oklahoma and even the southern half of Arkansas. It reminds me a lot of home. All right, I'm gonna leave now. Zachary, peace out, brother. Appreciate you dropping by. Yeah, so I've always liked that stretch up there, and it's good to kind of go up there and hang out because to me it feels like home. It's my little taste of home because I don't get back that way very often. Let's see. Yeah, so we're just kind of hanging out here in the shelter. We've got a class going on this weekend, and we're just kind of lingering about. And wasn't quite time for bed yet, so I thought I'd pop in here. Let's see. You are from Lexington, North Carolina, and I lived for a very quite a few years in Charlotte. Wife's family, they're all from Asheville on that western side over there, and I like living in North Carolina. It was pretty good to me. Can't complain. But we've been, let's see, we moved out here in 12, I think it was, in 2012. So at this point, I feel like I'm just about a native Texan here, even though I'm definitely not. I'm from the South Carolina side. I always joke with my wife, she's from North Carolina, I'm from South Carolina. I always tell her I'm from the better of the Carolinas. She definitely enjoys disagreeing with me on that one. But yeah, I don't make it back to the Carolinas very often, but we usually go at least once a year. Karen is back. Karen, welcome back. Welcome back. We're still just hanging out here in the thing. Topo the dog over here, still asleep. She's hanging out in there. I think she is yeah, I have 2 cots. I have like a kid cot that she sleeps in, but a double sleeping bag, so we both get in there. And usually, if I don't jump in there quickly, I have to fight her when I get in there because she goes to sleep on my cot, and then she wants to get back out. Debbie, hello. Yes, yeah, she always likes to go to sleep on my cot, and I do not fit on the kid cot, so I have to kind of move her over. But yeah, I think she's in there asleep. Let's see, Debbie, where are you from? I'm hanging out here. We're in exotic Dallas, Texas, or just kind of like northeast of there. And Karen says, say hi. Hi, Karen. Let's see. Kind of running through it. The wind is definitely kicking up. I can hear it getting louder and louder. We've actually got a handful of campers out here, and one person has a tent that's probably no more than about 20 meters that way. I can hear their tent really rattling, but where I'm set up, I'm kind of surrounded by a bunch of red cedar trees, so it's blocking a lot of the wind here. I'm trying to be kind of strategic. Debbie from Illinois. I used to go to Peoria very often for work. It's been quite a few years since I've been out that way, but I've probably spent more time there than anywhere else in Illinois. But I did spend quite a bit of time in Peoria. But yes, I'm kind of surrounded here by a bunch of red cedar, so they're buffering some of the wind, but I can definitely hear some of the people out there. Their tents are flapping pretty good. So I guess that little front's going to be pushing in. Right now, all of the wind for us is sort of coming out of the south right now, but late tonight, early tomorrow, it's going to shift and start coming out of the north. It's supposed to drop down temp-wise pretty good here, but it's still not going to be cold this weekend. I think the high tomorrow is low to mid 50s. Since when have you been camping? Actually, this is so tonight's the first night out here this week, but we're usually out, this time of year, almost 3 or 4 weekends a month. This time of year, and it usually stay that way until about May, and then toward the end of May we'll sort of slack back off just because it's so oppressively hot here in Texas. We'll drop it out and not do quite so many overnighters and stuff, but I've been here with the survival school, school opened in 2013, so I guess I've been coming out here doing stuff with them since 2014, but I've pretty much grown up camping and stuff like that. So at this point, way too long. You can tell by all the gray hair and the no hair. Definitely seen more than a few birthdays, but pretty much the entire time. Let's see, are y'all doing class this weekend? Yes, Ed, we are doing class this weekend. This is our basic survival class. Let's see, and happy Valentine's weekend to you as well, Karen. Yeah, so we've got a basic survival class doing it, and we do that class, and it runs from a Friday through a Sunday, and we typically do it at least once a month, September through May. Like we normally run that class on like a traditional school calendar. So we kind of do usually kick up like late September, and then we'll run it till the end of May, some of that neighborhood. I think the last one for this class season will be the last weekend in May, and then we've got at the end of this month we do it's a 5-day, it's a knife only class. So you're out there with just your clothes and just your knife. That class is always fun. I always look forward to it. We've got it the last weekend of this month. I pretty much look forward to it all year. We only do it about once or twice a year, but I always look forward to it. So that one's coming up soon, so I'm excited about it because we've got, let's see, I'm teaching wilderness first aid through the Red Cross next weekend, and then I guess the knife only class is the weekend after that. So, so we got this class this weekend. So last week was the only weekend that I'll have off this month. So 2 weekends ago I was doing this class again. So we do these pretty often, but keeps us pretty busy. And then in the summer we kind of take summers off and ease it up a little bit, and we do more like day classes and stuff. Honestly, just because we can't make people, especially adults, drink enough water to stay hydrated. So we're constantly, when we do overnighters and stuff during the summer, we're having to kind of stay on people to make them drink enough water, because people can, especially adults, can be a little stubborn. Let's see, when is the next time you'll do a live stream? You know, Karen, I will probably do another one tomorrow night. I usually try to do them each night when we're out in the field like this. My class tomorrow will probably, I don't know how much the rain's going to impact us. We'll probably be a little bit later on, probably be about this time tomorrow night. I'll jump back on and I'll kind of hang out for a little while and do another one. And then when people drop off, I'll call it a night and go to bed in there and have to go wrestle the dog out. But yeah, so I'll probably be back on tomorrow night. That's the plan, at least. Yeah, these have only been doing these for a little while, but I like kind of the jumping on like this and actually being able to chat with you guys from sitting inside the tent. Because otherwise, sun goes down, get a little bored over here, and it gives me something to do to hang out instead of like doom scrolling on my phone looking for something. And so it always seems like it's a good use of time. Oh, let's see what else. Yeah, I did mention earlier, for those of you that it is still cold outside where you are, if you're one that tries to heat your tent with something, and I've tried everything in the world, I've heated this tent inside here, and this is just a little teepee style tent. I have heated it with the little buddy heaters, and I don't like those. They're pretty clean, they're pretty easy, but I hate the condensation that you get inside the tents just from the propane. Swapped over a while back and actually was actually some of the last nest of lives that I did had a full kind of like a hot tent setup where I had the stove inside here, and I liked it. Didn't get the condensation because it's a nice dry heat. But having said that, it did get smoky in here the very last night, and I guess we were out for, I think it was 5 nights that week. Very last night, got a little smoky in here, so the tent still smells a little smoky. So I'm trying to air it out some this weekend. But the thing I hate about the hot tent setup, the canister stove is so small that by the time you get to the next morning, you pretty much have to let it all die out and you have to empty all the ashes out. So it's a process every day to just empty ashes out. And that piece gets a little annoying. So I did just recently pick up a diesel heater that was I found it on, they were running a pretty good sale on it, and I picked up a diesel heater. I've never messed with one. I was hoping to try it out this weekend, but it's entirely too warm out here. I think it's only going to be like high 40s or something tonight, or tomorrow. I think it's tomorrow night. It's supposed to get down to high 40s. Tonight's like mid 50s. But I'm going to try that out here when it cools back down again, just to sort of see if it works pretty well. I'm probably going to try to heat my garage with it for the one little winter storm that we get every year in Dallas. But let's see, Karen, so your dad was a scout leader. That's awesome. It is harder and harder for scouts, at least around here, I think, to have parents that know how to do it. So it's harder for the kids to learn how to do it. That's why here at the school, kind of our big, we very intentionally focus, try to make the classes very, very family oriented, just because quite honestly, there's so few avenues, especially for kids, to actually learn this type of stuff and get comfortable being out in nature. Where anything we can do as parents, anything we can do to try to get the kids off the screens and all of that fun stuff out from in front of, whether it's the computer or the television or the tablet or whatever, like to offer that opportunity for them too. It's pretty funny. We have parents that bring the kids out for class here, and they'll usually go ahead and preemptively tell us, like, hey, I've told my child that you guys don't allow phones, so they're not allowed to use their phone. And we'll usually back the parent up. We don't make those rules, but we usually back the parent up and swear up and down, like, yeah, we don't want phones out here. But then they also then turn around and they stare at the kid that's like, 2 families over. It's like, well, he's on his phone. Why can't I use my phone? But yeah, anything we can do to try to get the kids out in nature and doing something, I think, is a step in the right direction, because way too often they're not very comfortable out doing stuff like this. All right. Yeah, the wind's definitely picking up here now. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Probably gonna get wet tomorrow. That's okay. I've already got my muck boots over here. I'm ready. I'm trying to leave those things in the back of the truck because you never know this time of year. For those of you who have not been in Texas, especially like North Texas, I think we get every bit of our rain between late March and like mid-May. And then it's dry as a bone almost exclusively for the rest of the year. So it's definitely feast or famine around here. For about 2.5 months out of the year, I feel like I need gills. Let's see, what age range for kids would you say the basic class is for? So that's a good question, Ed. So we go through, and like I started bringing my son out when he was 6. And so there are things that even at that age they love. They love the fire piece. They love the sheltering. We do a lot of like tarp sheltering and stuff like that. Very often, this is the piece that surprises me the most. They like the first aid piece, which I was kind of surprised by. The stuff that they typically kind of tune out on, we do start out the sheltering piece, like we'll do a quick section on knots. They often don't have the dexterity to do some of the knots, and we don't teach a ton of them. There's like a half dozen of them. And they typically sort of get lost in the compass skill portion of the land nav. Let's see, and oh no, we didn't check it. Yeah, and these the survival classes, you can go out there and check them out. We're really hard to find. It's texassurvivalschool.com. Um, but yeah, so like those two pieces, like even at 6, like it's usually the knots and the land nav that they kind of get lost in a little bit. But pretty much everything else they usually lock into, and it's a lot of hands-on stuff. And so they usually enjoy that piece of it. And our classes, man, they're usually, because kids are always free at our school, because we want kids to come out. So as long as they're coming with a paying adult, you know, they get to come out. Um, and so we're usually about 25% kids. Each class is about 25% kids, about 25% ladies, and then 50% men. Um, it's kind of funny. I say with a paying adult, when it's your child, it's a free kid. We actually kind of had to change the wording on the website. We had one gentleman register and showed up one time with about 40 scouts because the wording was, oh, kids are free with a paying adult. Well, one scout leader registered and then showed up with 40 kids that we did not know were coming. We weren't staffed for it. We weren't expecting 40 kids. Where are you camping tonight? Man, oh, that's Jeff, my buddy Jeff here. Man, I'm over in exotic Farmersville, so I'm right up the street from you. You should come by here tomorrow and check us out. I'm gonna get you on that bow drill. Yes, yeah, Karen said, are you wowing because of the scout leader? Yeah, we had to have a serious conversation with him. I'm like, dude, you know better than this. You know that was not what that meant. Because he had been to class before. He knew how we did things. And so, yeah, he was kind enough to register one person and show it with 40. So we had to subsequently change it. So the rule is, it says on there on the website, one child per paying adult. If they're your kids, we don't care if you bring 1 or 5, as long as they're yours. But let's see, we had 10 people. Oh, okay. So you're, oh, okay, Jeff. All right, you're over at Levon. Oh, is this the youth weekend this weekend? All right, very cool. Well, my child is up in Broken Bow right now. So hopefully everybody's behaving. He was up there hiking today. They found some trail to go hike on. He was sending me pictures and trying to FaceTime me from the trail. I didn't get too much of the story, but it definitely looked nice. Allegedly he has pictures, so I'm looking forward to seeing those. Yeah, so classes, like I said, they're pretty consistently going on. Let's see, yeah, 10 is pretty small, Karen. I know my son's pack, when they merged it, man, they had gotten down to, they weren't very big themselves. And they merged in because they were having a hard time just administratively administering a pack that was so small. And it's also having, you don't have that many scouts in, you also don't have that many parents involved. And they ended up merged his pack with another one that was, you know, just a little ways outside of town from where we were, and actually had enough then to kind of constitute continuing the activities and stuff. But they did have to merge the packs together because it really wasn't enough to sustain one. And it was unfortunate because it was a good sized pack when he first started, but it went downhill pretty fast. Yeah, Jeff, I did see that you got that bow drill. So that's good. That's always a big one when you get over the hump with it. Telling you, man, it's a wood choice, wood choice, wood choice. Look for the willow, learn the cottonwood. Cedar works pretty well. I find that the white part in the cedar works better than the red veins are. It's kind of that heartwood. It's a little more dense. But if you get used to finding willow or cottonwood, both of those work really well for that bow drill, at least for the spindle and the hearth. So those are pretty much the two easiest ones to learn with. And the trick with finding willow, it's always going to be around water, man. Water, and you got the long kind of spear-like leaves on it. Oh, Karen, the last time you were camping, you broke your leg? How on earth did you do that? Um, let's see. And Jeff said, cedar spindle, I'm assuming ash or cottonwood hearth. I heard it was cedar spindle and a willow hearth. That's what I heard you were using. That could just be the rumor on the streets. You were talking about, Karen, you mentioned breaking your leg last time. So my wife was off, I think I mentioned earlier, she's off with my kid. She's chaperoning these 10 teenagers. And they went out hiking earlier today, and one of the little girls is up there. I think she twisted her ankle or something, and they spent the afternoon in the emergency room or urgent care. I think it's urgent care they went to, getting her checked out. But everyone at least passed muster and survived. Oh, you were climbing up a tree and fell. That's not fun. I think we've all been there for that. Yep. Willow Hearth was at practice with one arm, John. Okay, all right, okay, very good. So, Jeff, did you get another one after John? If so, very good job. Keep practicing. You're going to have competition because we've got another one out there taking that class, and she has been busting out coals all week with her bow drill set. She keeps sending me pictures every evening of her coal at the house. Very good. Keep practicing, Jeff. All right, and Karen says bye. I have to go. Karen, thanks for stopping by. You enjoy the rest of your evening, and happy Valentine's Day weekend for you. Yeah, keep practicing on that, Jeff. The more, honestly, man, the more you do it, the easier it gets. It's definitely it is definitely one of those things that the more you do it, the more you realize what it's supposed to feel like as far as that balance of downward pressure and speed on it. But it definitely gets easier. And yes, there's definitely fat wood at that place because, okay, I don't know if you guys can hear the coyotes or not. So there's a siren way off out in the distance, and it's got the coyotes all yipping out here. There's a ton of them that way. Are you guys able to hear those? They're all wound up. Jeff, if you're still on, I tried really hard to peer pressure John into coming at the end of the month too, but apparently he's got something going on. Yes, and recording yourself while you're doing that bow drill definitely helps you kind of self-diagnose what you may or may not be doing right. I know that probably would have helped me. Once you get more accustomed to it, you can kind of tell by the way it's feeling, sort of what you may or may not be doing right. But that definitely helps a lot. Yeah, I know. He's got that whole baby thing to watch. You know, this whole newborn kid things. They'll get in the way pretty quickly. Apparently, you have to like care for them and feed them and clean them every once in a while. Um, mine's been mine's definitely gotten way too old to worry about that stuff. So I try to block that out and forget all the stuff that goes into that. All right, so we've been rambling here for about 40 minutes now. And it is about 10:40, so I'm gonna sit here for a few more minutes and listen to the coyotes yipping. I love listening to those guys kind of off singing. Always fun to listen to. I had one trying to get in the hammock with me one night. We were it was at the old original school location. The night before, this was like a May class. It was I know I was hot, sweaty, and stinky, and all that fun stuff. And I was sleeping in a hammock, and I had a raccoon come in the night before and just kind of milled around under my hammock at, I don't know, 11 or 12 o'clock that night. I kind of rolled over and watched him out the hammock. And then that Saturday night, I heard something easing through the brush at about the same time, and I just assumed it was the raccoon coming back through. And when it got a little closer, I could hear it sniffing, and I could tell it was a bigger animal. And it kind of dawned on me, I was like, oh, it's actually a coyote. And I laid there, and it started like all the way down at my feet, and you could tell it was sniffing me like all the way up the side of my body. And I was sitting here with my flashlight like this, and it laid its nose like on my shoulder, and it was sniffing me, and gave me like a little lick. And when it licked at my shoulder, I turned the flashlight on, and it was probably an adolescent. Like it wasn't a fully grown coyote, but it was pretty darn close. He definitely could have used some more filling out, but he was in that kind of tall, lanky stage, He was just acting more like a curious dog than anything. But when I flipped the flashlight on and he was that close, I think I scared him, and poor thing went crashing across the creek. And I think it was probably the last time he tried to go sniff a person up close. But I know he was trying to figure out what that stinky smell was, and it was me. But yeah, I don't ever worry about the coyotes too much, but I do like listening to them sing over there. But out here we hear the coyotes almost every night. Usually first thing in the mornings we'll hear the turkeys. There's a bunch of turkeys that pop up down here that's like that way. They pop up on this on the fence line. I'll hear about their chirping and carrying on. And every once in a while we'll get a couple really loud owls out here. Let's see, I tried a bow drill using a cedar fence panel as a hearth board, and Spindle wants to see if it would work. It didn't. It was my first attempt. It's a great coyote story. Yeah, the coyote story was pretty. It was pretty interesting. I've definitely fought more than a few critters out in the woods over my shelter. That was the first time I actually had a coyote get really interested. Usually it's like in the middle of the night you get the armadillo that randomly roams into your shelter. I did class 2 weeks ago, I guess it was, and had just a little plow point tarp shelter set up that I was sleeping on the ground. And it was a chilly weekend, so I was like, oh, we'll just crash on the ground. Had an armadillo like mill in my shelter in the middle of the night. He kind of hung out for a little bit and then moseyed on over. Definitely had more than a few raccoons get a little curious. Usually if I've been cooking in the shelter, they'll kind of poke their head around and wonder if there's a little bite to eat. One skunk tried to visit me one night. Usually stuff like that, but usually nothing ever to really worry about. Yeah, I wasn't sure how that the cedar fence panel would work. I don't think I've ever attempted to try that. Usually, if you ever wonder if the combo will work, you throw it on a drill press and give it a whirl. It's usually about the easiest way to just check it to see if your setup's going to work. You can take a little stub and just see if the tool works. It's been my experience that most wood, you can eventually get it to light. It depends on how much work you're going to put into it. Some of that stuff will absolutely wear you out using it, but the more it's one of those things that the more you do it, the easier they do all get. You've got that nice kind of mechanical advantage of the bow. And so once you sort of figure out what that balance of speed versus pressure is, they definitely get much quicker. I think the fastest I've ever done from coal board to coal, blow it into flame, is right at about a minute or so, some of that neighborhood. Kit's obviously already made, but at this point I don't know how many hundreds of those things I've lit. We did Eric and I, he's the other owner of the school, we used to do a lot of stuff for the scouts. We'd go out and do like their train the trainer for the local, what do they call it here, the Circle 10 Council, which is all the kind of north, sorry, there's something keeps flying by here. And we'd go out and do the train the trainer stuff. And then we went out, they had a bunch of kids that were out that they wanted us to go teach bow drill. When we got out, they were like, hey, these kids aren't, like, they're probably too small to do it. And they just wanted them to see what it feels like. So we would face the kid, which meant very often we were bowing left-handed as opposed to right-handed, because most of the kids are right-handed. So we're like holding their hands and helping them do it. Man, we must have lit that day alone, and these were probably like 60-pound kids. I don't know what the age group was that was there. It's been a few years ago, but we must have lit 100 fires a piece that morning or that afternoon. We were out there quite a while, and they were just moving through just like a little assembly line. And all right, here's what it feels like, just so they could kind of feel the speed and the pressure. And it was just coal after coal. I don't know how many hearth boards and spindles we went through that day. We had a ton of them prepped, and we basically bowed until we ran out of stuff to actually bow with that day. And it was a lot. I definitely could feel it in my arm for about the next 2 or 3 days. You could tell it was just burnout. There's not a whole lot that's actually comfortable about the positioning that you do bow with, other than the fact that it teaches you to do it pretty quickly, because at least at my age, That's not a comfortable position. I don't have a meniscus in one knee, and the other one's a little arthritic. So I don't have meniscus on this side, and this one I broke. Yeah, the less time I can spend, crouching down and bent over and on one knee, the better off it is for me. So I've focused a lot on trying to get it over with quickly, as far as the bow drill, but it's definitely fun. It's a great party trick, but I do look at it like this: like if I'm out in the woods and I'm relying on having to rub sticks together to make a fire, I probably screwed up a really long way, and I didn't do the prep that I was supposed to do. If you go out in the woods and you're actually prepared to be out there, you know, flicking the big's always going to be the easier option than going out and taking my knife and whittling out a kit and sitting there trying to rub sticks together and make a fire. But it is fun to do. It is. It's a great party trick if you're going to go out and do it. But yeah, he's got that. But yeah, it's. I always looked at it as you should always have, a couple easy ways to light a fire. I'm trying to look for it over here. I use these little Maxpedition Platy pocket organizers, and even though I'm not a smoker, I always have the Bic in there. It comes in really handy. It's the easiest way to light a fire, man. Other than, I guess, popping a road flare or something. Whether I'm lighting the lantern over here or just building fires. I do that, and then on my keychain I'll carry like the little twist-on pill bottles. I think my keys are over here somewhere. Yeah, the little twist-on pill bottles like these things. I can screw this thing out here. I'll throw, it's like 3 cotton balls with a little bit of Vaseline in there, so I know I've got 3 super, super, super easy fires to kind of get things started, even if the tinder's a little suspect. And I do keep it like a little ferro rod on the keychain too. But I like to have a little bit of redundancy on the fire. I'll put my put the Platy back over there, and I just slung my knife out. I have a little Swiss Army knife in here. It's kind of always my little backup there. I heard something hit the ground, and if I didn't find it now, I'd jump up in the morning and start looking around for it and wouldn't be able to find it, and I'd be up the creek then. I used the absolute fool out of that little Swiss Army knife, and I don't even remember which model it is. I had picked up the camper one and then didn't like not having the scissors on it. And so I think this is the Huntsman. I think it's the model for it. Yeah, I think it's the Huntsman. I like this one. This has probably been my favorite one out of all of them so far. I do like the little Swiss Army knives. All right, I've been rambling on now for almost, 48 minutes, right? Meow. So I guess I'm gonna go ahead and punch out and call it a night. Like I said, I'll probably jump back on tomorrow night and hang out for a little while for any of you guys that are interested. I think my dog is actually in there snoring right now. So you guys, if I do not hear from you again, have a lovely Valentine's Day weekend. And check us out here. If you've not subscribed to the channel, go out and subscribe to it. We're always kind of out in the field doing something. Ed, man, you have a good one, and take it easy as well. And try to stay somewhat dry up there in Oklahoma. And swing down here and come visit with us. We get a ton of people that come down from Oklahoma, Arkansas, come up from, all the way out toward El Paso. Robert was on here in just a little while. Man, he's down there on the, he's got quite a ride. Somewhere between here and El Paso. He's got a good haul himself. But we pull from all over. Come on out and visit with us, man. And so you guys, again, have a good Valentine's Day weekend, and we'll probably do this again tomorrow. Everybody have a good one. Good night. If I can figure out how to turn